he became his lawyer. So it means that he had no role as far as the documentation and permits were concerned. So having secured all these necessary statutory approvals, Heritage then goes to Gabby's law firm and contracts them, saying that, look, we have all these things from the state agencies necessary for us to carry out our work. But the following items of ours were destroyed by an operation of government agencies. And there's a long list of those items. So we are coming to you to contract you as our lawyer to fight this case for us. Then what does he do? As any lawyer will do, you either write, you do a phone call and find out ways of trying to actually represent your client once he has proven to you that he is doing legitimate business. So he picks his phone and calls the minister to say that, oh, Heritage has all the statutory approvals necessary for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. However, they say that you've gone to their premises to take the following actions contrary to law. So I want us to see how we can resolve the issue. That's what any person in his right mind will do. If I were the one, I would do a similar thing.
Mm-hmm. What was the response?
How does that now get into the report? And if you look at the sentence, I read it somewhere in another. He says that one of the biggest surprises was when Gabby called him to talk about on behalf of. So what was wrong with it? When he called him, did he tell Prof to do the wrong thing? I want to, because if Prof didn't say so, he didn't call him to tell him that, please do the wrong thing for my people. He said, my people have all the necessary permits. However, they complain that in the course of operation, they are being harassed. What do we do about it? And that's what any lawyer would do for his clients.
If I have to add to Joseph what you're saying, just quickly, if the prof did perhaps say that this and that was being done wrong.
Yes.
The other question is, did Mr. Jidaku say after that explanation, if it took place like that, that I
in spite of the wrongs,
I disagree, in spite of it, go on.
Go ahead.
That
is where the problem would have been. We don't have that in the report.
You and I went there, so we don't know.
We don't have that in the report.
So these are the matters that
no, but by the things that we have, the record that we have, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's not in the record. So it will be a huge mountain for the prof to prove in court that the words that he has actually said did not represent defamation.
You don't know what leg what stone is.
It will be huge.
You don't know what.
But also to deal with this,
because we know that truth. You know that truth is a defense in defamation.
Yes.
So he has to prove that what he's saying is true. You know, and it's very, very difficult that you are going to prove that the man told you to do the wrong thing. Because you haven't said so even in your report. All you are saying is that you were surprised that such a person was calling you on behalf of Heritage. My brother, what position does Gabby hold in government? To the best of my knowledge, nothing.
He has power.
He has power, but he doesn't hold any position.
Which power?
He has influence, not power.
He doesn't have any power.
Okay.
He has no power.
Okay.
He may have influence, but not power. He doesn't hold any power.
Okay.
You see, so in conclusion on this matter, while we appreciate all of us the need for us to fight Galamsey, we should be careful about individual integrity, name that people have struggled over a period to win for themselves. Because one reckless statement about a person could end him completely. Just one reckless statement.
Yes.
And that is why the defamation suit, as you have put, that's the little bit of it that I will agree with you totally is having filed this.
My name.
I think that processes.
Mention my name.
The venerable Mr. Gentua, the soon-to-be presidential candidate. I think
who is paying $500,000.
In my position on this matter, having filed the defamation suit and having asked for injunction and etc., it is time for some elderly people in our party to really call them and sit them together.
Where we've got into
ceasefire. And you recall that there was a near altercation between Gabby and our majority leader. Yeah. The following day, what I saw, I slept well. The two of them met in the majority leader's office, and that camaraderie was reenacted, and then it was good for us. You know, so I want to see a similar thing in this. That having filed this to vindicate his rights, they will now sit down and talk over it and get it. Because we have election 2024 win.
Okay. All right. So, is it not obvious that Gabby was really saving Professor with his call, because at the time there was an interlocutory injunction against the state from interfering with the heritage business. You know, you know that there was an interlocutory injunction against the state from interfering with them, which resulted actually to the heritage actually winning the case, and the attorney general going to set it aside by some technicalities. But at the time, there was an interlocutory injunction. So what you were even doing, heritage has already injuncted you. So the lawyer's call was even to help the prof.
See, once the matter has been filed,
Mhm.
you know the rules and regulations surrounding. Once a matter is sub judice, you can only talk about the facts that
The encomiums around it.
encomiums around it.
Turns around.
You understand? And you see, the good thing about these fora is that when you have taken the legal step, you understand, then the rules of evidence now become at play. Is it that because one, it is going to be he said, she said, as the first point. Now, what interpretation, you understand? Is it a reasonable inference that Prof could have drawn from the call? You understand? Because I don't think in the report, Prof specifically has called Gabby specific names. The fact that I expressed surprise about the call is an opinion.
That later happening. So I think
Aha,
what
so-
happened, the reaction is what triggered this.
So Gabby has gone to court because out of the statements that you have put out, certain interpretations have been drawn. And defamation is about reputation. You understand? That if reasonable people can infer and call me Galamsey lawyer out of the fact that
Absolutely.
I am out of the statements that you have put out, then there could
In
be
fact,
a
some
case.
have said that he's actually a Galamsey kingpin.
Aha, you
On
understand?
the
So,
basis of the report.
you see, so he's going to gather all these publications and statements and come to court and say that, but for the statement that you put out, nobody has identified me and called me these names. But it is because you have put out this statement. That is why people, reasonable-minded people, are putting out. So he who alleges, he first and foremost bears the burden of proof. Remember that. So Gabby has to go through the elements, and he's a seasoned lawyer. And his reputation, because he's a senior lawyer of a law firm. And you know that once you are a senior member of a law firm of that standing, you have international clients, you have local clients. They will be watching all these things. So you
In
need
fact,
to,
he himself is over 20 years at the bar, I
Aha.
believe. And so
So
he
you have-
actually passes to be a Supreme Court judge.
So you have to take steps to protect your reputation. And Prof also, remember, can also counterclaim. That's what people do. So he can also counterclaim and say that, well, you two, you have said A, B, and C, and that may also have damaged my reputation. So let it play out. Let the rules of the court play out, and let us see what the outcome will be. I'm sure that I don't know whether this will prevent, because I've accused Gabby of filing this to prevent him from speaking at any public fora, that be created for investigating this. I have my doubts as to whether there are difference between a reputational damage and a fact-finding, you know. And I doubt whether he wouldn't want to take the opportunity because he's been very vocal. He gave an interview and gave his side of the story. And with this particular issue, I doubt whether anybody will want to miss the opportunity to state his side of this, including even the chief of staff and all those people. I think if the right forum is created, everybody will come with his lawyer and come and say exactly what, so that we can all have some peace of mind. Whether Professor Boateng was cooking things from his mind, as some people have alleged, or whether there are people really, a cartel, as he is putting it, who have contributed towards the destruction of our environment. So let's wait
Okay.
for
So-
the
so-
for
so
the
the-
play
on
out.
the-
And in situations like other situations, defamation is such that it has to do with both written and spoken.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the difference.
So if you look at Gabi's own, it's quoted extensively from the report.
Mhm.
You know, there are about 5 quotes
Yes.
that he considers defamatory. One of which is, I was expecting people such as Mr. Gabi Asare Ochridako, Captain Koda, and others like them who knew the president better and certainly had his interests and success at heart to support the fight against illegal mining. End of quote.
Yeah.
So it means that by this, they were not supporting the fight
Yes.
against illegal mining. That is what the plaintiff is seeking to
Exactly.
say. I was thus horrified to receive a telephone call from Mr. Osari telling me he was the legal advisor to Mr. Donald Echwa and his Imperial Heritage Mining Company, and that companies will be allowed to work in the Kobro and Apaprawa, or is it Apaprama Forest Reserve. End of quote. So these words are the ones that Gabi is urging the court to construe them to mean that he's been defamed, and that by virtue of this, right-thinking members of society, when they see him, will refer to him in derogatory terms. There are other ones, and for lack of time, that I have not been able to look at. So basically, this is what the court is being called upon to say, and Mr. Gentwa has said it all. Defamatory words could be spoken
Or written.
in the circumstances of
Great.
this matter.
Okay, so quickly, let me just read this message and then I will just switch to 1 minute, 2 minutes comments on Justice Getu Tokodu's nomination. So Esquire Ochredako has done an honorable thing for seeking Professor Frimpong to clear him from any wrong done in the court of competent jurisdiction. I agree with Gabi for his future reference to his image. We are in a country where the political opposition use everything issue to score political points. Of course, victims of such will take the course of such a course. So this is Ba saying that character assassination matters of this kind. So he's actually saying that Gabi's decision to go to the court, for him, he agrees with it. There's somebody here who is talking about Martin Pebu, but Martin Pebu is not on this show, and so I will not be minded to read that comment. So yes, that would be it for the comment section. But quickly, I'll start with you, Ni. Justice Gertrude Tokono, and this one you have just 2 minutes because our time is running out. So
we will have time to discuss.
Yes, we'll have it time to discuss as the vetting
Vetting
goes
goes
on
on.
and all that. Yeah. So quick comments about
Okay.
it, and then we'll end.
I think that in terms of being qualified, she's qualified. You understand? Because she served probably close to 19 years on the bench.
Yes,
Yes,
2004.
Yes, on,
19 years
on the bench.
But at the bar, she was 1986.
Yes.
39 years.
So that's 39.
39. So qualification wise, no problems. But as I always say, the Chief Justice has a number of duties to play. Head of the judiciary, administrator of the judiciary, you understand, the judicial service, and also a justice of the court. So 3 things: head of the judiciary, she administers the judicial service, and is also a justice of the Supreme Court. And in fact, by law, she's a justice of all the courts and can sit as a judge in all the courts, from the Supreme Court all the way to the last court of the land. She has her own legacy to create. I think I've always said that for me, the most activist moment of our Supreme Court was during the period 93 to 2000.
Wow. The revolutionary era.
Yes, you see.
Of the judiciary.
And the reason why I say that is that a lot of times the opposition party's complaint has been that the Supreme Court, in certain times, especially when the NDC is in opposition, the NDC has complained that the Supreme Court has failed to note its role as the check, you understand, on the excesses of especially the executive and sometimes the legislature, because the Supreme Court is the one court that can check the executive and can also check the legislature. So if you look at 93 to 2000, almost all the notable cases that were landmark cases in our constitutional dispensation, 31st December case, which declared the 31st December
The
celebration
of the coup as illegal
as illegal.
with public funds. Yes.
AG, MPP versus AG, a number of them, IGP, MPP versus IGP, NMC versus AG, all those landmark cases. But then sometimes when the other side is in government, we don't see the Supreme Court being an activist court like it should be. So she has a legacy to create. As for the administration of justice, we have our own issues. For example, I am looking forward to the time when
You have
we
taken
do
all the
away.
time.
I'm coming when we do away with issues of pre-trial, when we have to do personal attendance as lawyers for pre-trial matters. Waste of time. So there are administrative measures that she can take, including legal education. So I was saying, let's hope that we'll have more time to discuss what
Yeah.
our expectations are as lawyers and as citizens. And I wish her well in the vet, because if for nothing at all, at least it gives hope for those judges that have decided to become judges as a career, that you can always end up ultimately at the head.
And she was at the vetting committee 4 years ago.
I want to say that what excites me most, my brother has said a lot, but what excites me most is that she has experience both at the bar and at the bench. And when you have that balance, when you are administering justice, you take into consideration the interests of both parties, so that you don't do everything, to favor one side against the other. Because she's been from 86 all the way to 2004. She had been in private practice. And then in 2004, she went to the High Court, 2012 to the Court of Appeal, and 2019 to the Supreme Court. So I think that she's ideal for the position, except to say that, as I was telling my daughter, I said she must attend Wesley Girls. Because it appears to me that all our CJs, the female CJs, I think they are all
From Wesley Girls.
And I think
It's a very serious matter.
My wife will not let me have any peace today.
I've told my daughter, the one writing this year, JHL, I said, look, you must strive to go to Wesley
Okay.
Girls.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and so I'll not be able to come to Mr. Jantua and to Charles. But essentially, it's about the same thing. So
How do
please.
you know about the same?
All right. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Charles Clark, for coming today. Very insightful inputs you made today. He's a consultant and also a political commentator. Mr. Jantua is a member of the convention.
His Excellency.
His Excellency, Mr. Jantua is a member of the Convention
and,
People's Party
and aspiring.
and the aspiring presidential candidate.
Yeah.
And then
Are you announcing that I'm
Joseph
Please, I beg you.
Penka is a former Deputy Attorney General
Yes.
and a member of the New
trouble from you?
Patriotic Party, obviously. Nick Bako
And also
Samoa Addo,
standing as an
as
cabinet
MP at
yes.
the constituency is Timpani, yes. And then
the
Nick
honorable
Bako,
chairman.
Nick
Chairman.
Bako, who is the one sharing titles here, he's himself a chairman of His Grace something. So the show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohiming. My name is Wilberforce Asari. Thank you very much for the privilege of your company.